Hey everybody, welcome to Sana Q&As with Meredith Miller from Inner Integration, here helping you recover after relationships with psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, and other manipulative characters. Today I'm going to read a few more questions. This person says, please tell me I'm not losing my mind. Best friend after 20 years discarded me. Classic narc, self-absorbed, never could keep a lunch date, always canceled after the fourth time I said enough. Now, mind you, we texted first thing and last thing at night for 2.5 years. I did 3-hour massages free protocols and cooking. I was a good supply, huh? Life coach too, but this behavior floored me. She started having an affair. Third, and I don't agree, I'm a Christian. She dumped me on the day I buried the man I loved. Knew I was grieving and lied, saying she didn't want company. The next day posted on Facebook her and her new gay friend having kombucha and master tonic. Cruel is beyond words. I have felt like a car just ran over me and like, what the fuck? I'm having tremors and anger, no rage. I can't believe my best friend did that. I landed in the hospital and she didn't even check on me. Life-threatening adrenal crisis caused by cortisol surging. She caused an abandonment wound. I recovered from a car wreck 20 years. Got off 14 drugs and lost 135 pounds. This Jezebel is trying to kill me or drive me crazy. So I want to start off by saying, it's typically we talk about the intimate relationships. We talk about the familial relationships with psychopaths, narcissists, and other manipulative characters. We don't talk as much about the friendships, and the psychopath friends, narcissist friends are much more common than we think. And especially, if you started noticing once you figured out who your partner was or who your ex was, and then you started looking at your family, what you start noticing usually is that you're surrounded by these cluster B characters, including your friends list. And I've talked to some clients who realized like there were very few people left in their life once they started actually cleaning these characters out of their life, recognizing the pattern, realizing that it appears differently in different people depending where they are in the spectrum and which cluster B disorder they have. And you really start to see the truth. And I even have had a few people that I worked with who said literally there was no one left in their life. Like they didn't have any friends left. There was no one left because everybody was on that spectrum, and they decided just to clear everything out and start over. And that's very brave, and it's necessary to get these people out of your life, get them off your friends list, because those aren't real friends. This person that you're talking about here, she's not a real friend. There's no empathy there. There's just self-absorption. If you look back now, you probably see even more examples of that during the 2.5-year friendship that you had with her. So, I hope that you write down that list, just like we tell people when you're getting out of an abusive relationship to write down a list of all the abusive, manipulative, awful things, hurtful things that that person did to you, because it's like sobering. It's a wake-up call. You look at that list and you're like, oh, right. When you forget, because sometimes you can still forget, or you get caught in that cognitive dissonance and you start nostalgizing. Is that a word? You start having nostalgia of the past, the good times and when things were fun and everything. And then you tend to forget about what's real. You want to make that list. If this person was a family member, if this person was a friend, you really want to make that list. That way you get clear about who she is and the effects that she has on you. And that way, when she tries to hoover you, because certainly at some point that will happen, you will know not to respond. You will have the inner resolve that tells you you're not going to respond. You know better than that. So, let me just tell you too, I'm sorry that you went through such a cruel discard right after the man you loved died. That's just horrible. I'm so sorry. But it sounds like you understand now, this is not a quality person to have in your life. Like, real friends don't do that. They don't. Real friends would be there. They don't dump you and ditch you when someone in your family dies, or your husband or your boyfriend. Like, that's not normal at all. That person doesn't have empathy. She also showed you that your time wasn't important to her. And those are the little things, but those are big things because they speak loudly. When someone is always, setting dates and canceling, or they always show up late, or they don't show, or something else comes up and they got to go, when it happens now and then, it's normal, right? We all have lives and things happen. There can be emergencies, there can be things that come up. But when this is a pattern that happens over and over again, that person is telling you they don't care about your time. Your time doesn't matter to her, because if it did matter to her, she would respect her time, right? So then your guy dies, and the next day she's posting photos, hanging out with her new bestie. Yeah, you're right. That's cruel. She doesn't consider your feelings. Not at all. Not at all. And you mentioned this adrenal crisis that you went into. That means you have way too much stress in your life. Way too much. I really recommend cutting out sources of stress. Whether that's people, situations, and your thought patterns. Don't underestimate your thought patterns, and you and only you are responsible for those. When you have thought patterns and then the negative emotions come up and it creates this swirl and this downward spiral, and you get caught into that. And it's like when you're thinking about it, you're living it. Your body can't tell the difference. Your nervous system is running the same neural pathways. If that person was right there in the room and that were actually happening in the moment, your body can't tell the difference between what you're imagining and remembering and what's, quote, actually happening. So let that be a sobering reality for you, a wake-up call to recognize there's some major sources of stress in your life, and you got to make the cut, clean those things out, including the self-talk, the thoughts that are plaguing your mind. In Chinese medicine, the kidney energy, they call it Jing, Jing. It's where like our life force energy comes from, not the one that we get from food, that's something different, but the one that we're born with, And if that's not symbolic of her sucking the life out of you, I don't know what is, right? So look out for kidney, adrenal, blood issues when you're dealing with narcopaths. If you start to develop blood issues, even bloody noses, for example, the covert narc that I was with, somewhere between covert narc and sociopath, I'm not really sure. At the very beginning, within a week of having met him, my nose just started gushing. I mean, it was like clots of blood. It wouldn't stop for over 15 minutes of applying pressure, enormous clots of blood. And then at the very end, the same exact thing, like within several days that I was finally processing what was going on, my dog got attacked by another dog at the park. She was bleeding all over the place, bleeding in the apartment. I woke up like gushing blood again, more clots coming out of my nose. This was a sign of the life force energy getting sucked out of my life and the life of my dog. I do believe that things are connected. I do believe that these signs are not just random things, that, if we pay attention to what's happening in our lives, we realize that our lives are symbolic. Our lives are reflecting us, just like our dreams are. Our waking life is not that different. So if you're starting to have health issues like this, recognize something's not okay. And it's great that you're going to get you already got this person out of your life. Now you got to take care of you. Now you got to be really vigilant of your mind, so you don't allow this person to keep poisoning your mind and sucking that energy out of you through your self-talk. That's on you now, and now it's your responsibility to take the reins of your destiny in your hand and transform your life and stop sending your mental and emotional energy there. That's one of the biggest tricks that the narcissist does, is drive your focus and attention. If they can get you to drive your focus and attention where they want it, you're investing all your mental, emotional, and other energy there. Okay, so now you got to redirect your focus, your attention, your awareness to things that are healing, to things that make you feel alive, to things that feel good, that are life supporting instead of life sucking. I want to tell you too, great job getting off all those drugs, like 14 different drugs you were on, losing so much weight. That is amazing. That just shows you the amount of adversity that you can overcome, the amount of resilience that you have. You will overcome this. You will get past this. Look what you've already done. So have confidence in yourself. Have faith in yourself. Know that you can do it. Know that you can overcome. And if you have any more questionable friends in your life, really do an inventory. This is for all of you listening to this. This is a challenge. If you've already noticed one person in your life, whether it was your intimate partner or a family member, that was on this cluster B spectrum, you really want to do an inventory of all the people that are close to you in your life, right? And especially the 5 or 6 people that are closest to you in that inner circle. What impact do those people have in your life? Really question that. What value do they bring to your life? These may not be people that live in your immediate vicinity. They might be people that you're closest to and they live in other places and you talk on the phone or FaceTime or Skype or email or Messenger or whatever you're doing. But closest to you, meaning the amount of energy and time that you're spending with them, whether they're actual in physical proximity or not. You can still be very connected to someone and they're very far away and you don't have physical proximity. So what impact do these people have on your life? What value do they bring to your life? How do you feel when you're with them? How do you feel after you talk on the phone and you hang out with them? You become like the people you most surround yourself with. So be sure you like what you see in those people. Otherwise, you're going to start becoming like them and you're not going to like yourself. You're not going to like who you are when you're with them. You're not going to like who you are afterwards, regretting and thinking about the things that you did or put up with or enabled while you were hanging out with them, or that plaguing feeling and thought that's with you long after hanging out with them just because they planted doubts and fears into your mind and emotions. So really look at the people that are closest to you. Really, really look at that and take an honest look and decide, are you just keeping that person or those people in your life because you're lonely? Are they then making it worse? Are you feeling even more lonely when you hang out with them, or even more devastated after you're done hanging out with them? Or do you feel like those are positive, supportive, loving, and uplifting people? Those are the kind of friends you want in your life. And if you don't know those people yet, you want to clear out the other people so you create a vacuum in your life. Start working on yourself. Embrace your solitude. Start enjoying your alone time. Get back in touch with who you are. Heal yourself. Focus on your self-care. Little by little, you will start meeting new people. You will start meeting people who are better quality friendships in your life than this other person was. It's better to have that vacuum temporarily than to be filling your life with toxic people and you're constantly draining your energy and feeling exhausted. You're not going to meet new awesome people like that. And if you do, they're going to smell something on you that they don't like. They're going to see toxic behaviors because you can't help it. You're becoming like these people unconsciously. If you're not paying attention, you're starting to become like those people you're surrounding yourself with. And then when a healthy person comes along, they're not going to like those behaviors. They're going to be like, something's not right there. And they're just going to be repelled. They're not going to see you, who you really are. They won't know who you really are because you have these behaviors and these patterns now being in these toxic relationships. So get that stuff out of your life so you can figure out who you really are. So you have the energy, the focus, the awareness to focus on taking care of you. Got to take care of you. Self-care is so important. You mentioned too here, tremors and anger. Right? Yeah, tremors are definitely anger. When you see somebody's hand shaking like this, their body's starting to shake. Like Parkinson's, probably a lot of anger suppressed over time. It's that shaking, right? Get a grip on that right away. When you notice yourself feeling that much anger, you got to deal with that. You have to process the anger and get rid of it, or it will eat you alive. It will. It'll eat your body alive. It'll start as inflammation, tension, pain, maybe some arthritis, maybe some other inflammatory related diseases in the digestive system or the tissues, maybe chronic fatigue, maybe autoimmune illness, maybe it even gets to the point it becomes cancer. So you really got to take care of that anger, process the anger, don't keep it inside. Some people turn that anger into depression. They turn it so deeply inward it becomes depression and they can't get out of that depressive state. Either way, it's not going to be great for you. That's not going to be the life that you probably want for yourself. You got to deal with that anger. If you look at, maybe it was 1 or 2 months ago, one of the Q&As I did, it said something like dealing with anger. The question was different, but I gave the anger exercise. I described the anger exercise. I also recommended John Bradshaw's work. Look him up on YouTube. You can see a lot of videos. You can even get his books. One of his books, Homecoming, fantastic book on healing the inner child. He also does these anger exercises. My teacher in Peru did this with us. He brought us to the cliffs in the high plateau. He lined us up along the edge of the cliffs and he told us to yell, get angry, yell, get it out. He forced us to deal with this. You have to get it out. You have to be able to express that anger or it will eat you alive. So in the next 10 days, I'm going to be releasing the self-care mastery course. Part of that is going to contain 8 different bonus exercises, which are some of them are meditations, some are exercises, guided visualizations. One of them is on anger processing. Those are also those 8 bonuses that are going to be included in the self-care mastery course. Those 8 bonuses are also going to be sold separately if people want them. They're 20 to 30 minutes more or less each of those tracks. One of them is on the anger processing, so that's coming soon. That's going to be something you can go to practice getting the idea of what this exercise is like, and then creating your own ritual for processing the anger that works the best for you. But you got to get that out. Don't let it eat you alive. So, in the aftermath from this friendship with the psychopath, any of you who have been in these friendships, you're going to know it's devastating. It's equally devastating as being in a relationship with someone. And if you really look at the patterns, you're going to recognize that your friend in some way probably reminded you of one of your parents, of one of your primary caregivers. Somehow that dynamic felt familiar. Somehow you were able to enable that and go along with it because something felt normal about that. You talk about giving so much, right? You gave all this time, you gave massages, you gave all this help to your friend, and this person just took everything and gave you nothing. And then when the love of your life died, poof, right? So that's devastating. And these are the patterns of having psychopaths, narcissists close to you. Manipulative people, they don't care about you. They just care about themselves. When you notice these patterns in your friendships, start creating a distance. Start setting new boundaries with them. Maybe you're not really sure at first. Let's say this was back, earlier on. I would start setting new boundaries, stop all the morning and night phone calls, right? If you're talking constantly every morning, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, it's like you're in an intimate relationship with that person. Start setting new boundaries around time. Start setting new boundaries about what you're sharing during that time that you're on the phone. Be very careful with the information that you're giving manipulative people, because anything you say can and will be used against you. Be very cautious. Start setting new boundaries. If you're questioning, is that person toxic or not, set the new boundary. You will see very quickly. A non-toxic person will go, oh, okay, and they'll respect your boundary. A toxic person is going to push through. They're either going to violate that boundary directly and aggressively, or they're going to take the roundabout covert way, and they're going to use guilt tripping or shaming to try to get you, to try to impose on you to change that boundary. Either way, you're dealing with a manipulative person. It doesn't matter if they're the overt type or the covert. They could be very dangerous and very damaging to your sanity, to your health, to your well-being. It is not worth having friends like this in your life. It is much better to be alone, to embrace your loneliness, to really pierce that loneliness and get to the bottom of it and recognize how maybe you were just allowing people into your life to fill that loneliness like a distraction, so you didn't have to actually feel it. Only the irony is that these people or this person that was in your life made you feel even more lonely than when you were actually alone. That's a big wake-up call when you see that pattern. So for those of you who have been in these relationships, like I said, set a new boundary first. If you're not sure, you don't know how to go about it, set the new boundary, see what happens. Set another boundary, start taking better care of yourself. Start protecting your time, your emotions, what you're sharing, your energy, your mental focus. Start putting you first. Start taking care of yourself first and get these people out of your life. I'm sending you a big hug.